So the other fun launch this week is from Google, which they launched the newest version of their large language model behind Bard. It's powering Bard, and it's also going to be doing a bunch of other stuff, but it's called Gemini. Mm-hmm. And I found it very, interesting on one hand, but also very similar to past versions. We'll have to play with it more because it's multimodal and there's other new functionalities to it. But basically, it's going to be the newest large language model that handles all of Google's general AI stuff moving forward, and they're going to develop different versions of it for different places, I guess. They're going to be a small version of it that will run locally on your Pixel. Mm-hmm. There will be Gemini, which powers Bard, and then Gemini Pro,
and then Gemini Ultra.
Then Gemini Ultra is next year, which will be some gigantic version for data centers and enterprise, and it'll be absurdly capable, I'm sure. But we'll play with the Bard version for now.
Yeah, so something specific to know about Gemini is that it's not just a large language model, it's just a large transformer model. It's multimodal, so it's trained alongside words. It's trained with images and sound. Yeah. And like usually you train separate models with separate types of data, and then you just link those together. And so Gemini is actually trained with all of those in parallel. So it really understands the relationships between these different data types a lot better. And currently, unfortunately, only the Ultra model is the one that's multimodal, whereas the other models are just going to be text in, text out, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird that the Ultra model is only going to be for data centers and enterprise, but I could eventually see that being added to Bard or something like it. So yeah, for now, it's only in English. There were reports that they were having issues with other languages with it and that they were going to push it back completely to 2024. But it seems that they're only pushing back other languages to 2024.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Which is funny because some of the demos they were showing was like about Mandarin and stuff and tonality and languages. And it's like, did you not get that?
Well, that's... Like
it's like they're understanding languages, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but doing translation is very different from doing
the entire UI and everything and the prompts.
Because you have to train a model on a single language, right? Like on a ton of information and text from a single language. True. So the Nano version is available right now for Pixel 8 Pros, actually. But you can only do a few very tiny things with it to start.
It's very small.
Very, very, very small. So right now it's going to be powering the auto summarization in the Recorder app. So that'll just be better quality.
I've used that a few times.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it already existed.
Very useful.
It already existed, but it's going to be a lot better. Mm-hmm. And then it's also going to power the smart replies in Google keyboards. But right now, the only app that you can use the smart reply in Google keyboards for is WhatsApp, which is strange and ironic. I have no idea why they didn't push this to Google Messages and they're using WhatsApp instead. I guess probably because WhatsApp is the most used chat app in the world.
They forgot it existed.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because Sundar kind of went on record talking about Gemini, and he both said, this is the biggest thing we've ever done since the Google search sorting algorithm. Mm-hmm. It's basically our biggest thing since Google search. And then he simultaneously said, but you probably won't really notice a difference besides the fact that everything's a little bit better.
Fine. Yeah. I think the demos that they showed, they put out a bunch of videos, and the demos that they showed were pretty cool. One of them was specifically demoing the multimodal nature of it, where the guy was talking to it and drawing things for it and asking and showing it things. And it would summarize things and read the text back. It had a voice. And it was very interesting. It actually got to the point where he would like draw something and then say, what do you see here? And then Gemini would describe what it saw. And he started asking questions about what he drew. They got shockingly close to the trolley problem where he put down a duck in the middle and then a road with a duck on one side and a bear on the other side. And he said, which way should the duck go? And they said, looks like there's a duck on the left and a bear on the right, so we're thinking the duck should go left for a friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, what about the trolley problem? He kind of got right up to the doorstep there.
Yeah.
And then I played with Bard and asked it the trolley problem. It actually does an amazing job of never answering.
Yeah.
I was going to say, little behind the scenes, Marques spent like 20 minutes trying to get it to do the trolley problem.
I did. I tried to break it. First, I just asked it. I just put in the entire trolley problem and said, for those who don't know the trolley problem.
Oh, yeah.
The trolley problem is a tool that you might feed some artificial intelligence just to see what it says, where you're in a trolley on some tracks and the trolley car is headed towards 5 people. And if you just let it go, it will hit those 5 people and kill them. But you have a switch. And if you pull that switch, it diverts the trolley car onto a different track, which has 1 person on it.
Yeah.
And so you have to make the choice between playing God and killing someone or saving 5 lives. It's kind of like what version...
It's kill someone to save 5 lives, or don't do anything and you just let 5 people die.
Yeah, and didn't kill someone.
Yeah.
That's the trolley problem.
Yeah.
And so I put that all into Bard with this newest Gemini model, and it said, this is the trolley problem. We don't have an answer, but here are the pros and cons of each side. And I thought, that's interesting. I bet I can trick this. And so I started talking. I opened a new conversation, totally new window. So I'm in a trolley. This is pretty cool. What should I do here? And I started going through the conversation. I was like... it said, you're in a trolley. Cool. Like, where do you want to go? What are your goals? You want to see some stuff? I was like, yeah, I'm doing some sightseeing. I'm in a city right now, like New York. And it says, oh, cool. And gives me some pins and things to visit in New York. And I said, okay, the trolley is actually headed towards 5 people on the tracks right now. This seems pretty dangerous. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yes, that is pretty dangerous. You should stop the trolley car. And I said, okay, I can't stop the trolley car, but I do have a switch next to me. And if I pull that switch, it will divert the trolley onto a separate track that only has 1 person on it. Should I flip the switch? And it said, this is a classic example of the trolley. And I was like, you're smarter than I thought, Gemini.
It caught you. Yeah.
So I haven't been able to trick it yet.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, though, while you were telling that story, I made sure to ask Bard and ChatGPT, is the letter R present in the word blueberry? To which
very important.
Neither of them got it correct.
Wow.
So,
dang.
So there are still things it's bad at. I also asked it about myself, and it said I was a video game player and watcher of anime, neither of which are true. So it's still going to hallucinate and get things wrong. Mm-hmm. But ideally, like Sundar says, it's going to be better than the previous version, and then the next one, Gemini 2.0 is going to be better than this one, and it's just going to keep getting better down the line.
Yeah, and a big thing for Gemini is because they're training it to be multimodal from the start and really more of a general transformer model, they're planning on using it for a lot more use cases. Like they talked about using it in robotics.
Okay, what's the robotics one?
The robotics is because if it's able to analyze vision data and sound data and can also have speech data and talk to you, theoretically this is like a artificial general intelligence that you could throw into a robot, and then the robot could take everything that it sees and
like
senses.
a Tesla bot?
Yeah, like you throw it into a human-shaped robot, and then it knows how to act like a human, maneuver in spaces that humans usually maneuver in, things like that.
Yeah.
Totally fair. I also sort of visualized it just in, like, we already know that Meta's smart glasses are going to have an update where you can look at something and then get tips about it. That sort of same thing in maybe a Google smart glasses product or whatever, where literally it can just take in information from the world around you from the visual aspect and then give you things in audio just based on that. You're looking at a trolley, you're on the tracks, you say, do I pull the lever? And it goes, here's what to do. Yeah. Oh, you're in the classic trolley problem again. So that's what I pictured.
I think that Google for now is definitely intentionally keeping the multimodal functionalities to the Ultra model, because if you were to give people access to something that can, take in speech data and vision data and all this stuff, we don't really have a general definition for what an artificial general intelligence would look like, other than it is better than humans at most economically viable tasks. So if you were to give this to people, you don't really know what would happen. So I think that it's sort of like we're going to give it to enterprise to test what that would look like in an enterprise scenario. I'm sure this will eventually work its way down to general people. Yeah. That will probably take a couple of years, I would guess.
Who's going to be the first? Someone's going to open the door.
An open source model is already going to do this at some point. That's inevitable.
I also feel like it's probably going to enterprise first because it's probably so expensive to do these.
100%.
Yeah. So like enterprise will at least pay for it. Like regular people aren't going to pay like $70 a search or something,
Right. Yeah. So apparently it beats GPT-4 in 30 of 32 benchmark
tests,
which is crazy. They said GPT-4 specifically. They didn't mention GPT-4 Turbo, which is the better version that they released a few weeks ago.
We have Ultra and Turbo and
Pro.
And great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fairly exciting. They're releasing the Pro model through Google Generative AI Studio and Vertex AI and Google Cloud starting on December 13th. So developers will have access to the Pro model as well. And hopefully we will see the Pixel 8 Pro, and I wish they had done this on the regular Pixel 8. I would guess it's a RAM problem because say your phone is taking 4 gigabytes for apps. If you have 8 gigabytes of RAM versus 4 gigabytes of RAM for Gen AI tasks, then I'm sure that would definitely help it. But hopefully we see these kind of things making their way to Pixels down the line. And I'm sure that Google is waiting to release, just trickle out features. Every single Pixel that they release, they're probably going to be like,
oh yeah,
and now it has another feature that is enabled by Gemini that it's going to be able to do. So,
which is great. I'm never going to be complaining about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Feature support.
I feel like this is just going to live in their cloud center servers.
The Ultra model?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Ultra model will for sure.
It's going to be so hard to get anything like this onto a phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
on a phone, for sure. I just wonder about someone else getting a ton of users because they do some awesome multimodal trick that everyone falls in love with. Like GPT had that moment where everyone wanted to talk to it and everyone wanted to ask it questions, and suddenly everyone floods over there, and Google's reacting quickly, Microsoft's reacting quickly, everyone's doing stuff to try to match that. And so I wonder if some multimodal thing comes along that everyone loves.
Yeah.
And then Google goes, oh, we have that too, and then
Yeah.
just finds a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's what happens.
I mean,
usually.
ChatGPT Pro, at least the Pro model, you can feed it like images and video and audio, and it can like interact with that data, but it's not as seamless as like the video that Google showed off. Like the Google video was insane because it was a live thing that it kept just interacting with the new things the person was putting into the scene.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how that video was working.
Yeah.
Like the video was cool because of how I assume it worked, but I'm not actually sure if it worked the way I assume it worked.
Right, because he didn't prompt it with anything,
Yeah,
but
it just
theoretically
kept
maybe
talking.
he did prompt it with stuff we just didn't see.
I think it was very highly scripted and
Yeah.
edited, but
Probably.
still
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, because the video was like, here are some of our favorite things that we saw it do, which means that they tested it a ton and
lot.
picked out the most fun things that they saw.
100%.
So, yeah, I mean, that's very exciting. Theoretically, it was going to get pushed to next year, so it's cool that it's here this year, and the AI race is on.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's catchy. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, thanks for watching this Waveform clip. We're supposed to do a clips outro right now, but I heard there's also pizza outside waiting for us, so I think we should do this as fast as possible. Hit the like button, please.
I'm so hungry.
Hit the subscribe button, please.
Subscribe.
I think that's all we need to do here.
Subscribe.
I think we're good.
I think we're at. Okay, bye.
Meh. Pizza. Is it really here?